Good morning. In this series of videos, I'm going to be talking about my record collection. Sort of album reviews, uh, not so much in the traditional sense maybe, but album reviews I guess. But I'm mostly going to be talking about my collection, um, where the records came from, where I got it, kind of the price range that I paid for it at the time. And then just other things like me rambling about the artist or about the album or something related to that, because I am a music lover and I love recorded music. So I'm going to talk about my vinyl collection, which isn't massive. So I'll start with just a little bit of background. I wouldn't consider myself like a major collector or anything. I collect albums, but only ones that I want to listen to. I don't have a huge collection. I don't have a warehouse. As far as collecting records goes, it's pretty modest. Because I only buy stuff that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like or that I know I like. So I'm just gonna kind of go over possibly all my albums one by one. I have them organized in a certain way, and so they're going to be probably presented in a certain way, one by one. Right now I have them classified by genre, and then within that genre alphabetically by artist. Not for any really particular reason. I guess it's just easy that way to sort through it. And we're going to start with the largest category that I have, which is it's sort of a catch-all, just pop and rock and stuff that can fall into that category easy enough. I remember one time in the past I tried organizing them by style a little more specifically. I have it in only a small number of broad categories right now, but at one point I tried to do it by like subgenre too. And I learned real quick that was impossible. If I had like a ton of records, that would make sense. But I just ended up with like a whole bunch of very small piles, and I was like, where does this fit? And where does this fit? It was just stupid. I've been buying records for a number of years, many years now, I guess. I first got a turntable when I was, what year was it? Probably about 2000, 99 or 2000, I think, right around there. And I still have that same turntable. It's still what I listen to music on to this day. And the same mixer, which is crappy. I have a pretty Frankenstein together system. I'm not an audiophile. My setup is sort of silly. It works well for me. Let's see. So today, I'm going to talk about the first album alphabetically, which is a number 10cc. Deceptive Bends, the only 10cc album that I own. This price the sticker tag on here says $5, and I think I probably did get it for $5. I know I didn't pay very much for it, which is in part why I bought it. The album cover art is pretty cool. It was done by Hypnosis, and they've done a lot of good stuff. They did a ton of albums in the 70s, a lot of progressive rock and all sorts of different rock music. So I got into 10cc somewhere around like maybe 2014. I hadn't not really listened to them up until that point. I got interested, and I wouldn't say I did a deep dive. I didn't listen to a ton of their albums, but I read a little bit about the background and how the band split in half at one point. So this one is a pretty good album, Deceptive Bends. I haven't listened to it a lot, honestly. There's a bunch of records in my collection that I've only listened to, a couple times. Some that I've listened to a lot, of course, and some only a couple times. I've probably listened to Deceptive Bends. I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've listened to it. But it is a decent album. I don't consider myself a huge rock guy or classic rock fan, but I do like some for sure. And you'll see more of it if I continue making these videos. Sort of like pop rock, almost progressive at times. This is Deceptive Bends is, I believe, the first album where the band split in half, and 10cc ended up just being Graham Goldman and Eric Stewart. Well, I'd read somewhere they were kind of the more conventional songwriters. 10cc was an interesting band in that it was 4 guys that all sang and all played multiple instruments, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's mostly done by like 2 or 3 guys, I suppose, on this album. Yeah, what can I say about it? Decent album. Can't speak to the music that much. Great review, right? Can't speak to the music that much. So, what I do remember is I had listened to this album once before I bought it. Once or twice. Probably only once. I had heard it on a streaming service. And, I liked it well enough that I bought it when I happened across it. I probably bought this record, in Duluth at Electric Fetus. One of the reasons I bought it is there was one song I really liked. It was really kind of a catchy pop song called Don't Squeeze Me Like a Toothpaste. So cheesy and weird. And it was only after I bought it that I realized that is not a standard album track, but was something that was on like a deluxe edition. So I do not have a record that has Don't Squeeze Me Like a Toothpaste. The song that I wanted it for was not even on it. That's what I get for paying attention. Of course, it turned out to be a good album anyway, as I've stated 15 times now already. So a couple of the things that I'm going to go over on this, well, I've already mentioned it, but where I got them is going to be one focus. Like I said, I got Deceptive Bends probably at Electric Fetus, and that would have been, I don't know, mid-teens. Don't know the exact year. I'm not going to know the exact year on most of these albums. There's a number of, spoiler, there's going to be a few stores that I very frequently, the majority of my collection I suppose came out of. Electric Fetus is one. There was a shop that I bought a number of records from called Vinyl Cave in Wisconsin, which has since gone out of business. All their stock got bought by a store next door. So there's a lot of records at Globe News, which I bought from a little bit. But Vinyl Cave was a big one. I bought records from Agartha in St. Paul, awesome record store, quite a bit of metal. So I bought a handful of records from them. And then various places that I'll mention. This first one was a boring one because it's Electric Fetus, and I got a lot of records from there. And yeah, I guess I'm not going to ramble too much about 10cc or Deceptive Bends. It's just not that interesting. I'll go into it more once I cover Godly and Cream. I own just a couple of Godly and Cream records. And after learning about 10cc, I immediately took more interest in them and eventually listened to maybe all their albums, and some more than others, and it's good stuff. Sort of bizarre, quirky rock music. First album wasn't very good, the first Godly and Cream solo album. And yeah, strangely enough, I've heard a bunch of random 10cc songs, but I've only listened to maybe one other album of theirs, besides Deceptive Bends. I've never really sat down and listened through a bunch of their music. Even though I like it, it's pretty good. So, next time I'll be talking about another rock album, or something close to rock and roll. I'll talk to you then.